House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
Afternoon, my friends, and welcome once again to House to Home. Liz and Gina are here in the friendly confines of their office, and we have a special guest with us this week talking about all things real estate, in particular title. And we have brought in an expert on the subject, our good friend Kim Anderson, who I have not seen in at least 2 years. So Kim, so good to see you and half a day.
Half a day. Good to see you. Good to be here with you guys.
All right, and because of your presence, and we greatly value it, as well as your insight and your expert level knowledge of all things title on Guam. I'm assuming we're going to talk about things that maybe lead and bleed into the area of exactly how you transfer title.
That's right.
And hopefully, I mean, Liz, is probate even avoidable at this point? Like because everybody just assumes that, it's on Guam, it's a family atmosphere, people pass away and they just think, I'm going to give land to my nephew, to my sibling, to my child.
Well, we do get calls frequently from people who their loved one just passed, and if there's a number of people, heirs to the property, sometimes it depends on whether there was a deeding from the deceased member to the family members. We always want to see what is showing on the title, and just because they said I was going to give it to you, for example, Jason, but nothing was recorded. So usually when someone passes, there's usually a probate that's required, or if it's a husband and wife, if it's joint tenancy with rights of survivorship, then it would automatically pass to the surviving spouse. But it just depends on what is showing on the title. And that's why we wanted Kim to explain the different things that crop up and how the title would pass. Should they wish to pass it to their children, how do they go about that?
Mm-hmm. Well, Kim, transfer of title is but one of many things that you guys do over there. Quite literally, it is your line of business. How much, if we were to put together like a pie chart, would you say that these type of transactions make up of your business?
There's different ways. I don't know how to answer the pie chart question.
A lot.
But a lot. People handle their passing on their property when they're toward the end of their life in a lot of different ways. And Liz was absolutely right. You've got to go back to the documentation to see how, like, your mom and dad acquired the property. Did they acquire it as joint tenants with rights of survivorship? Did they acquire it as community property? Did they acquire it prior to their marriage as their sole and separate property? And every single property has its own history. So we really have to go back and refer to the source documentation to see what the right step is to move it on to the next generation.
Mm-hmm. Now, Gina, I know from working with you guys, whenever you deal with a realtor, you always make sure to credit and, say how much work the people that work in title do. And I mean, they really are like an investigative leg of a lot of the transactions that you guys underwrite, right?
Well, we couldn't survive without them. I wouldn't close a transaction without them unless the consumer, demands that we go through their attorneys. But even with that, I would strongly suggest they go through an escrow company to get the added benefit of title insurance.
We also, along those lines, we do a lot of work for attorneys. So if an attorney is closing a real estate transaction, a lot of times they'll ask us to provide them with a copy of the title report to see what they're dealing with. So,
Jason, I always explain it to my customers like this. A title report is like an X-ray. It allows you to see beyond what you can physically see. And so if there are issues in the background, that title report will show you what those issues are. A lot of people come to us and show us their deed. And even on occasions like that, where the family comes in and I could see the deed, I still will reach out to a title company to say, go through this and tell me what I cannot see. I want the X-ray on this. And they'll give me the title report. And that always, it'll identify things that I cannot identify without their assistance.
Mm-hmm. Kim, if you would, how does one, if and we've talked on the show about how many wonderful career opportunities there are in real estate as a realtor, and the other various ways that you can work in it. But how does one typically get into title? Is it they cut their teeth as a realtor and then they kind of they branched off horizontally, or is it? Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. There's lots of ways to fall into it. And the one thing that I've found is you either love this or you hate this. And if you hate it, it doesn't make sense, and you hate it with a passion. I've had people that have come to work with us saying, I really thought this would be different, and quite honestly, I hate it. And I said, it's not going to get any better. And then there's other people that walk in the first day and it's like, I've found my home. So it's fascinating to me. So that shows you where me and the 30 people that work in our office fall.
And there are quite a number of firms that deal with title on Guam, even considering like our population and like our physical size. I mean, this is, as Gina said, a very necessary component of real estate.
Well, there's three title and escrow companies, but there's also all of the lawyers that are involved in estate planning, in real estate transactions, in lending. I mean, it's a huge industry. And that's just the real estate sales aside. There's all the surveyors, there's the appraisers, there's the people that walk through the problems. When we have a problem, we call someone that can walk it through the government to fix it, like substandard lots. It's always something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
We're all, Jason, we are all problem solvers.
Yes.
And depending on the team that you put together, your problem is solved well or it isn't.
Yeah. The title companies are critical in flushing out any issues with the property. So when Gina and I get people who say, hey, we want to list our property, one of the first things we will do is, okay, give us your documentation, but we also request for a preliminary title research to verify, because we've had cases where they claim they're the owners, but the title shows someone else on the title. Or there's a complication because there's an added party to the title. One person can't sell the property. All the names on the title have to agree to make the sale. Otherwise, it's no go. And we can't list it unless we get all the parties involved. So again, the title company is the neutral party that puts together the research on it and assists us in our work to make the deal happen.
Kim, for the benefit of people watching this and they may be going through real estate transactions currently, like maybe transfer of ownership, or the deed is going through the various phases that it goes through, and this is their first time doing so, and they say we're going to have title experts look at it. What's the general timetable as far as turning around when documents and evidence gets into your hands from when you can actually go back to the client?
Well, it kind of depends. First of all, if it's a property that we've done research in the neighborhood before, then we can we've already got like all the background historical documents, and it depends on if we have everything that we need in our office in order to give a complete picture. Some properties we can do in 4 hours. Other ones will take us 3 weeks because we might need documentation from land management. And, for example, they were shut down for a while and we did not have access to their records. So it's sort of, it's a who knows? Did you want to finish that conversation about probate, Liz, about when someone is passing on, if they might think that if they've done a will, that their will is what's going to determine where the property goes. And for the most part, I think that's probably true. I'm sorry, my dog is barking. But
no, that's great. That's great background sound. I love it.
Sorry. Anyway, so if someone does a will and says, I want this property to go to these children, that will still has to be, the attorney needs to take that in and probate that and get it blessed by the court and distribute it. There are other ways of dealing with property. Sometimes before people pass on, they give a deed to their children, or they can give a deed with a reservation of life estate for themselves The other thing that's very becoming more and more common now is trusts. The use of a trust to avoid probate, and so that someone really knows that their property is going where it's supposed to, where they intend for it to go. We've got a little bit of a speed bump that on trusts that we're working on, but that's probably for a different discussion. But it depends on what the best tool is for you, and people should, talk to an estate planning attorney or log on to things that'll teach you how to handle, or what your options are.
Mm-hmm. I'm not familiar if the official holiday calendar has a day set aside for, recognize your title professionals day, but I would like everybody to basically take two hands, put them together in a heart. Let's go do that, you guys, and show some love to your title professionals, because they are experts, they are learned, they are very friendly, and they want to help you, because as we've learned, this is a process, and we couldn't do it without them, as Gina so effectively said.
You guys, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Kim, and we'd love to have you back on to talk about the trusting, because I know that is a very big topic. We've had other attorneys on, and they always come back to this, and they said it's very misunderstood, but by no means is it something you can just gloss over.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if we can do that next week or on a future episode, we greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Kim. Appreciate it as always. That's our time, everybody. Thanks so much for watching House to Home. Bye-bye.